Earthlings, Modern Sans, and the rest of you fuckers. Welcome to a brand new video series on the channel. Now that we got pleasantries out the way, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor. Is what I would say if I had one. Anyway, enjoy the video. Andrew, welcome to your first virtual therapy session. I'm Dr. Chocolate, or you could call me Doc Chocolate for short. Now, we've been talking about a new favorite video game of yours. Let me look at my notes here. If I recall, it's called Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. And you say it's been causing you a lot of frustration, and you wanted to talk about it, get some things off your chest. Hi, Doc, it's good to see you. And I wouldn't really necessarily say the game is frustrating because it's extremely fun to play. But at times it can be really frustrating because there are certain characters that are extremely annoying to fight against. And they just make me want to toss my controller against my TV, but I don't want to do that because it's the only TV I got. But hopefully you got the notes that I sent you because I thought it would be a good idea to put some of my thoughts about the characters onto paper. So we could go over them and I could ease my chest in all this frustration I have about fighting against said characters. Yes, sir, I actually have your notes right here. And I see you started with Superhero Piccolo. I'm assuming there's more than one version of this Piccolo character. And you said fighting against Superhero Piccolo is like fighting against a caveman who has the ability to transform into a pumpkin. It's like fighting the stepdad who's a better dad than the actual dad who stays clean as fuck. I don't get what the deal is about fighting a giant pumpkin that has the ability to throw rocks. Not to mention, he can turn into a giant. What's the deal with that? So, from these notes here, it doesn't sound like you like fighting against this superhero Piccolo all that much. You say he throws rocks and can turn into a pumpkin. Please elaborate on that. Well, he has this first transformation that just, I guess it's a potential unlock, I'm gonna call it. And it really just, it kind of changes his color and the color of his gi for some reason. But one of his super moves is he throws a rock at you. Like, he forms a giant rock in his hand and he bolts it at you. And it travels pretty fast and it's almost undodgeable. Having a rock thrown at you that you can't dodge, it does get pretty nail biting. And then on top of that, he has a transformation above that. He goes orange and he gets slightly bigger. But his moveset, for some reason, is fast, and it doesn't need to be. He don't need to be that fast when he's that big. Not to mention, on top of that, he has a gigantification form. Fighting against giants, it isn't really all that hard, but once you get caught in those combos and the type of moves that giant Orange Piccolo has, his punches are just, they're basically grapples. They're just like grabs. But those punches do a lot of damage. And they don't need to. He's as orange as a pumpkin, Doc. As orange as a pumpkin. It's like I'm fighting against Charlie Brown's great pumpkin, who can throw rocks and shoot beams out of his mouth. You know how annoying that is to not be able to dodge? Because he is so fucking big. Doc, I almost threw my controller at my TV. Fighting against Orange Piccolo, I'm gonna call him Pumpkin Piccolo. That's not fun, Doc. It's not fun at all. Okay, so it looks like that touched the nerve a little bit. But that's why we have these therapy sessions, so we can vent those feelings out. Now on to our second character. Cell Max. You said if you fight with Cell Max, then you are a fraud and a wannabe. And instead of aspiring for perfection, you settle for the great value in its second semi-perfect form. And instead of stealing gum from your mom like a normal kid, You steal Werther's originals from your grandma, and you're not talking about the soft ones. And you don't use spearmint, but you use wintergreen. But there's no green in winter because the snow is white. And you're stupid for doing so. So, what I'm getting from this is Cell Max sounds like a cheap knockoff version of another character who's already in this game, correct? Yes, Doc, he is a cheap knockoff because Perfect Cell is what his name entails. He is perfection. Strong, sleek, beautiful. Perfect Cell is like what mint chocolate chip ice cream is to Joe Biden. Cell Max, we don't like Cell Max. We don't like Cell Max. He's a brainless beetle who can fly. All he does is scream. And we get enough of that from Z Broly. Broly in general. We don't need a cheap knockoff, lack of perfection beetle. That's not gonna fly, Doc. That doesn't fly. Well, alright, this Perfect Cell sounds like he's one hell of a character. Okay, let's move on to your next person. You said you had Gogeta from Dragon Ball Super. And you said if you fight with Dragon Ball Super Gogeta, then you're the type of person who wants to be the best at everything. You want to be at the top of every type of situation in every category. You're the type of person who lets your opponent have the first hit before completely obliterating them. And not only that, but you also like your steak medium well like a champion. So it looks like Dragon Ball Super Gogeta is sounds like he might be the best character in your opinion. Now, Doc, let me tell you something. Dragon Ball Super Gogeta is the smallest mofo in this whole game. Everything from his moveset to his supers, his ultimates, and his transformations. Everything about this character. He moves with such elegance. Every punch, every kick, every blast, this man is art. Everything he does with he does with grace. Not to mention, in his Super Saiyan form, Doc, the form of the Millie Rock. You can't touch this man. Now you see, Doc, this is where Super Gogeta gets annoying. It's when you have to fight against him. Because that man is fast. He throws punches and kicks like Sonic the Hedgehog. So when you get caught in that combo, you just have to pray that you have the right amount of reaction time to hit that counter button. Otherwise, you're gonna lose at least 2 bars of health. At least 2 bars of health, because Gogeta will kick your ass. Alright, so it sounds like you have a love-hate relationship with Dragon Ball Super Gogeta. But let's move on to our next character, shall we? Next on your list, you have Dragon Ball Super Goku. And you said fighting against Super Goku is like fighting against the ADHD kid who doesn't know how to do anything else but throw hands. It's like he was trained in the art of fisticuffs since he came out of the womb. And in a regular, everyday situation, he seems like your run-of-the-mill village idiot with a low IQ. But when it comes to scrapping, he's somebody who knows how to utilize his opponent's weaknesses to his advantage. Okay, so Dragon Ball Super Goku doesn't really sound like an intelligent person, But when it comes to battle, sounds like somebody who is very tactical. Sounds like somebody who can easily pick up the win. Am I correct? Andrew, are you okay? Every time I fight a Super Goku, I get hit with a Dragon Blast at least 4 times. Doc, I hate fighting Super Goku. If I get hit with one more Dragon Blast, the next time I fight a Super Goku, everybody and their mama is catching an ultra big bang. I'm not talking about theory. Okay, we're gonna cut today's session here. Andrew, I'll be sure to call you next week so we can pick up on our next virtual session, all right? Oh yeah, sure thing, Doc. See you next week.